Welcome to a new episode where we explore the most humiliating methods of torture during the notoriously harsh medieval period. Brace yourself as we venture into the dark corners of the past, revealing the bone-chilling and cringe-inducing techniques designed not just for pain but for public shame and degradation. From the bizarre to the terrifying, we'll navigate through stories that will make your skin crawl and perhaps even challenge your perception of humanity's past. Apologizing while dressed in white sheets. If you'd done something wrong and needed to do penance for the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages, you had to be prepared to play the role of the repentant ghost. Criminals were required to wear a white sheet, presumably with a head hole cut out. Through the sources are unclear on this, standing outside the local church while all of their friends and family filed in and begged for forgiveness for their crimes. Wearing humiliating badges and animal masks. People who like to make others look completely ridiculous as punishment for their crimes thrived during the Middle Ages. Albrecht Classen and Connie Scarborough's classic Tome Crime and Punishment in the Middle Ages mentions a few classics, non-violent punishment methods that would raise eyebrows in today's penal system. Most notably that criminals were forced to wear terrifying animal masks around the towns or in stocks, presumably to frighten babies. What about the other one they mentioned, badges for specific crimes? Yep, that may appear to be a mild punishment, but you had to wear it for the rest of your life, and no one was going to trust you with anything. If, for example, you showed up for a new job wearing a badge made of two huge red tongues bigger than your hand, indicating you'd committed perjury, and good luck getting a date while wearing that. Being thrown into water while tied to a swivel stool. The ducking stool first appeared in the 16th and 17th centuries, but it is still worth mentioning because it is both hilarious and horribly sexist. If a woman did something unwomanly, most commonly being a scold who told her husband off and caused problems by spreading gossip, she'd be trapped in a chair at the end of a pole and dropped into the nearest stream or lake repeatedly. Is there anything more feminine than that? Using a handmade bridle. The so-called scold's bridles are terrifying looking items that were designed to be worn by women who ran their mouths too much. Despite the terrifying appearance, it appears that they were primarily designed for public humiliation rather than actual pain. They are literally bridles that are strapped to the head and have bits that are placed in the mouth. Some of the bits had spikes that prevented the wearer from speaking, which was terrifying, but others were simply heavy and uncomfortable. The scold would then be paraded around for up to 12 hours in her ridiculous headgear. Taking a stone from boiling water. Ordeal trials were no laughing matter. They weren't the norm. If you stole a bunch of gold and someone caught you, you'd probably be hanged rather than put through a holy test. They didn't mess around when ordeals were deemed appropriate for whatever crime had been committed. What would be your punishment if you failed? To begin with, you were excommunicated from the church because God clearly did not believe in your good name. That was only the beginning. There were three types of ordeals. Cold water, sinking to the bottom of a pool, indicated innocence, while floating indicated guilt. Hot water, plucking a stone from a cauldron of boiling water and having the wounds heal within 3 days was required to prove your innocence. And hot iron, carrying a pound of boiling iron, demonstrated righteousness. If a priest or holy person was accused of a crime, he could request a trial by the host, which entailed taking the host wafer and swallowing it. If he was guilty, he would choke. Suffocation in mud. Suffocation has been used as a method of execution for a long time. One of ancient Rome's woman, Fausta, was executed in an overheated bath, and one of Christianity's most famous martyrs, Saint Cecilia, was allegedly beheaded after suffocation attempt failed. However, the legal system in the Middle Ages specialized in one type of suffocation, mud, glorious mud. Being drowned or suffocated in mud appeared to have been thankfully uncommon, but it was a punishment reserved for women who left their husbands in the Burgundy region of France. Suffocation in mud was sometimes less of a planned punishment and more of a nasty byproduct of medieval battles. Historians report many cases of exhausted armor-laden men drowning in mud on battlefields. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this.